wedwa owazi ubunzulu benxeba, wedwa Thixo wethu owazi ukulimala kwabo, Thixo wethu onamandla, okwethu nje kukuncenga, Thixo wethu onamandla kokuba bamkele ngalomzuzu into kokuba isicaka sakho esithembakeleyo esikusebenzeleyo, Thixo wethu onamandla, uye wabona wena kufanelekile into kokuba usiphumze emva kwexesha elide, Thixo wethu onamandla, sigijima, sikhandleka, sisebenzela wena. Moya Oyingcwele, siyakuncenga okokuba ubathuthuzele, Thixo wethu, thuthuzela Thixo wethu abalapha abantu, uthuthuzele nabangekhoyo, Thixo wethu onamandla, aba Thixo wethu walapha, ewe bakhona liqaqobana, kodwa Thixo wethu abaninzi bafisa okokuba nabo ngebe bekule ndawo, kodwa Moya Oyingcwele abakwazanga ngoba Thixo wethu isimo singavumi, kodwa sithi yelula isandla sakho, Thixo wethu, kuba bonke abantu abeva kabuhlungu ngokuhamba kwencekukazi yakho, Thixo wethu onamandla, siyazi into kokuba wena usisiqalo, wena usisiphelo, wena Thixo wethu ngumniki bomi, Thixo wethu onamandla, nalena into Thixo wethu asikhalazi, ngoba Thixo wethu wena uyayazi into kokuba uyenzele ntoni na, kodwa umnqweno wethu into kokuba Thixo wethu onamandla, aba bashiyekileyo ubenze Thixo wethu baxole, Moya Oyingcwele, okusuka ukholo, Thixo wethu onamandla, bamke kuwe, Thixo wethu, bawuphalala, bafumbathe ngesandla sakho esinamandla, bafihle Thixo wethu, ngoba wena nguThixo ofihlayo. Vela Thixo wethu amaphiko akho, ubafumbathe ngamaphiko akho, ukuze Thixo wethu bavume, sithi Thixo wethu siyibeke incekukazi yakho, babe besithi nene inyaniso esi sisandla sikaThixo, bavume into kokuba wena nguThixo othabathayo, kanti kwanguye noThixo ophayo. Moya Oyingcwele, sisondela kuwe ngalo mzuzu, Thixo wethu onamandla, sicinga Thixo wethu umzalikazi ongekhoyo kule ndawo, umama uPoswa, bopha Thixo wethu inhliziyo yakhe, Thixo wethu onamandla, momeleze, mthuthuzele, Thixo wethu onamandla, ukuze Thixo wethu angaphelelwa ukukuthemba nokwazi, nikele esandleni sakho, uyiqhube ngendlela yakho, Thixo wethu onamandla, Thixo wethu onamandla, siyazi into kokuba wena uzasikhokhela kule nkonzo, uhambe ngaphambili kwethu, Moya Oyingcwele. Nanku Thixo wethu umfundisi uGudula osikhokhelayo ngalo mzuzu, nansi iBishop yesisithili, Thixo wethu ezasinika amazwi okuthuthuzela olusapho, simbathathe ifumbathe esandleni sakho, ukuze sithi xa siyimamele singamameli yona, kodwa Thixo wethu sive wena uthetha ezindlebeni zethu. Sinike ke Thixo wethu amazwi ethemba, sinike ukomelela xa siqala le nkonzo, ngoba wena Thixo wethu siyakwazi into kokuba unguThixo njalo, uThixo ongasiyaniyo, uThixo ohlala nabantu bakhe ngamaxesha onke. Ewe siyavuma ngalo mzuzu, lifikile ixesha sizonikezela, Thixo wethu onamandla, bopha ke Thixo wethu wonke lo mndeni kule ndawo, Thixo wethu izihlobo nezalamane, egameni likaThixo uyise, elonyana neloMoya Oyingcwele, ngoKristu Nkosi yethu, ngoku nangonaphakade. Amen.
Masibonga kakhulu singahlala phansi. Mandi thabatheke esisikhathi sokubingelela umuntu wonke okhona kule nkonzo yanamhlanje yokugqibela kaThokozani Poswa. Dibingelele uBishop weSynod yethu iNatal Coastal, umfundisi uMandindi, umfundisi uSanda, ongumfundisi kule sekethe yalapha eMngeni, igosa le-section, namagosa wonke e-society, kakhulukazi eyase-LG, omama, nobaba, obhuti, nosisi, umndeni wakwaPoswa, umndeni wakwaKhumalo, nezihlobo zonke zabo, abantu abasondeleyo kule family yonke torhwana. Ngicela ukunibulisa nonke ngelihle igama likaKristu inkosi yethu. Amen. Sizawuqhuba ke le nkonzo torhwana yezikhulumi. Ngicela ke ukuba very strict. Ngicela uba very strict. Isikhathi sisibambe. Oceliweyo ukuthi azokhuluma ayazi okokuba isikhathi sona sincane kakhulu esinaso. Umuntu ngamanye ndikhuluma ke uzama uqoqa konke ofisa uzokhuluma apha in just 1.5 minutes ukwenzela into yokubana izifiso zefamily okwenza le nkonzo zihambe kakuhle. Ndiyathanda ke ukuyitsho kakhulu loo nto. Njengoba sisazi ukuba sisonke uSister Thokozani siyamazi, and bekungekhe sihlale even a day sibalisa ngaye lokuthi sibalise ngobomi bakhe. Kodwa nje okwanamhlanje kokuba sicaphule nje kwi-headlines if ngingasebenzisa enogama ukuze sikwazi ukunikeza ipicture nokwenza ke ukuthi le nkonzo ibe inkonzo ezawuthi ihlale ikhumbuleke umsebenzi azawusenza siphole sikwazi ukumkhulula ayophumla kwikhaya lakhe lokugqibela uThixo engumncedi wakhe. Yesi sithuba ke ndicela siphakame sonke xa sicela owalapha ekhaya ozawuthi asifundele i-obituary. Sicela owalapha ekhaya ozasifundela i-obituary asondele ngaphambili xa siphakame sama ngenyawo ukuze ke sicule nje ivesi benye ezolileyo ukuze sikwazi ke ukuya phambili.
Thokozani Poswa. Thokozani was born at Inanda Township in KwaZulu-Natal on the 13th of January 1965 and passed away in Westville on Monday, the 20th of July 2020. Thokozani, mother of the tribe, represented love, humility, laughter and grace. Everyone who ever had the honor and privilege to meet her knew her and affectionately called her Uma. Her smile and loud infectious laugh filled the room. She was a strong shoulder to lean on. Thokozani was born to Joseph Geleva and Janet Zalwazi Kulmad. In her earlier years, she attended Shembe Memorial School, Pelelani Primary School, and Pembe Caesar Secondary School. She matriculated from Ohlanga High School in 1986. In 1997, she graduated from the University of Natal with her honors degree in social work. She started her career as a social worker at Phoenix Welfare in 1998. She has touched many lives whilst blossoming in her career. She has worked for various organizations such as Inanda Welfare, PSV Survivors of Violence, or Sinani, Child Welfare South Africa, and the last role was at Pagamisa, where she served as a director. The beautiful and glamorous Thokozani Poswa married uThabo Zwiso Poswa. They are survived by their 3 children, Uvuyisile, Uvuyani, and Uspilele. She also leaves behind, her 5 sisters and 2 brothers, a sister and a brother-in-law. Hamba kahle Thokozani, siyohlala sikukhumbule. We are comforted knowing that God has one of his children back home. Siyakuthanda muntu. And lastly, I just want to talk to my sisters and the family. Ukuthi, sometimes for the ball to go high, it has to bounce down on the ground. So let's just all know that just trust the hand that threw us to the ground. Ukuthi masibhampa sizonywa kakhulu sibuyele kusona leso sandla. And sometimes it takes ukuthi umkhumbi uhlephuke, not to kill but to build. Yabo.
Siyabonga kakhulu umndeni othe wasifundela i-obituary kamnandi kangaka seva sonke. And so now sizangena ke uhlelo olu Sizawungena kuhlelo olubekiweyo phambi kwethu ukuze ke sikwazi ukuqhuba siye phambili. Manicele aba bantu ababini basondele ngokusheshsha. Ozawukhulumela abangane uphindile Makopo, nozawukhulumela abakwa Mashallah uphumzile Langini, basondele apha ngaphambili bobabini. Uphindile Makopo kunye nophumzile Langini basondele apha ngaphambili, mabasondele. Mhlawumbe nje ivesi benye torho.
This is the difficult time for mina nabangani bethu. Ngiyasithozana bese abangani in groups. I had to write it down so that I remember. Kodwa ke futhi ngiyazi ukuthi I want to present everyone ngendlela abayithanda ngakhona. Ukhehla said ukuthi she was a glamorous lady. She was. Thokozani, she loved everyone she came across with. She loved. Besides ukuthi umndeni wakhe was a priority, we knew ukuthi we were also a priority. So number one was always number one on both sides, on all sides. Nami ngangu number one, nabangani bakhe basohlange was number one, and nabangani bakhe basesontweni was number one. We knew ukuthi we were all number one, so there was no doubt ukuthi she will do that happen. But one thing I want to say, as I say goodbye to our friend, and a really good friend. I used to, now I'm shattered yazi ngempela because Thokozani phela we traveling partner wami kahle ma ukuthi siyolala out as girls, because bengihamba naye bengithi siyahanjwa girls, we are plenty at home as girls, but since I didn't have a lot of girlfriends, she was the girlfriend that I would travel with. So I'm trying to think how will that happen as we plan trips after this period. But again, I noted something that was written by someone. It is sometimes we climb to the mountain heavy-hearted, but when we get down to the valley, the weight is lighter. She was that kind of a friend, Thokozani, where you know that you can climb that mountain, and when you get down, the weight is lighter. How it happened, it could be ngabe ukuhleka kwakhe, ukulalela kwakhe, ngayo yonke into obekade eyiletha kuwena, so that you will really feel ukuthi you are important. And that light weight abekwenzela yona, whatever that you were carrying, someone will have to take over, or else we will have to learn new skills on how to do it. We say there is time for everything. Umshumayeli uyasho ukuthi there is time for everything, and we always argue with Umshumayeli ukuthi yeah, we know you say it, but we are not comfortable with that statement because the time is not ours, but we always want to make it ours. She was a soul in the small boat. Thokozani was petitish like. She had breast, which I loved because mina ngizange ibe now. Amabele makhulu, but she had that kind of vivacious, looking person body, which I admired. She was as glamorous from the inside and the outside. Even when she dresses, mina ngangibuka Thokozani ukuthi uyameshi underwear before umeshi outerwear. So regardless of what occasion it was going to be, it didn't really matter. And I always, when she goes out, she will always remind me, and she buys those gifts for me for that reason, to remind me that the camouflage it doesn't work. She's one of the friends that because she's like I indicated, groups and this group it came purely on the basis of wherever she was, she will start the songs where we had to. I always pretended as if I know how to sing. knowing that she will take over because I'm not a good singer. So I knew that she will take over. And we will call her Ukaga because the friends that we have also, she made sure ukuthi uyabonakala and she shows up. Wawungeke uhambe noThokozani and doubt ukuthi uzobukeka kanjani kwi-function enzeya kuyona. She loved her friends and knew how to allow to group them based on their characters. Mangithi based on their characters, khona banganithokozani wawubona umngane kanjani nalo. Because nam ngangiyibona ngiyi-priority phela. Umngane kanjani nalo. But because she knew how to group herself along and around labo bantu labo, ngangiyibona ukuthi she has that uniqueness which eyakhe kuphela, and no one will have that uniqueness yokuthi athi be able to be friends with people who are young, be able to be friends with people who are old, be able to be friends with our colleagues. And just one thing, my friends were, in fact they are not my friends, my sister's friends, because I always steal people's friends. Oti, but hi boss is T, because they called her Sis T. I mean, I couldn't call her Sis T because ngangiyitshentshe ngontanga wakhe. Ngangimbiza ngoThokozani. Everyone else on my age betu Sis T and Sis Thokozani. So there was always that kind of balance. Kumina, she was my colleague, my friend, my partner. One friend was what I know a lesbian name, because no masi ama hotel sizolala about two, and it kills to understand and know. But one thing that we know, we agree with Shumaye when he says there's time for everything. And this is the time for us to say goodbye to our lovely friend. Goodbye to the mother of many. Goodbye to Thokozani. Yeah, that's all we can say. Yeah, goodbye, Mama. We call each other Mama. Goodbye, sister. I could talk forever for Thokozani. We started Varsity Ganye Ganye. We completed Safunda Sasebenza Ganye Ganye. But I don't, at this point in time, all I can say to the family, who are my kids as well, I consider them as my kids. And I say to them, guys, take care, love each other, and humbly love each other. And to our siblings, as friends, we say we know how bonded you were, and we know definitely Thokozani was that glue to bond all of you together as well. Not that you didn't play your part, but we are just saying continue that bond and make her shine abukaga in all what she does. To abashana bakhe, Thokozani loved abashana bakhe equal to how she loved everyone else. And all we can say is let's continue her love and let's continue to make it work for all of us. Thank you.
Siyabonga kakhulu kumngane othe wazokhuluma apha. Masiphakamise njengamanje ozawukhulumela abakwakhumalo. Ozawukhulumela abakwakhumalo asondele ngaphambili ba unayo.
Imyekelena koduke muyekelena koduke ayekhaya ezulwini. Amen. Ngibingelela ubaba umfundisi umphathi wohlelo. Ngibingelela abantwana bakaThokozani, odadewabo, abafowabo, abangani, ihlobo zonke egameni elihle lomfeli wami uJesu Kristu. Amen bathandekayo. Amen. Ngizokhulumela umndeni wakaKhumalo bathandekayo. Enhlizweni yami nje usafika indaba zokuthi uThokozani udlulile emhlabeni. Ngabona ukuthi impilo imfishane. And ngenxa yesikhathi mhlambe yonke into ebengayisho ngoThokozani angizukuyisho, kodwa ngosizo likaMoya oNgcwele ngizofisa nje ukugoqa ngithi umzuzu nomzuzu uNkulunkulu asuke esiphe wona emhlabeni nabathandiweyo bethu kubalulekile ukuthi siwusebenzise ngendlela efanele. Amen. Ukuze mangabe sebesusiwe emehlweni ethu singaregret. Ayibonge inkosi. Njengoba esho umngani kaThokozani ukuthi ubefana neglue ekwazi ukuhlanganisa abantu, uThokozani will be dearly missed. Mhlambe ngingasho ngithi njengomndeni wakaKhumalo siyambonga uNkulunkulu for a gift ebiwuThokozani. Amen bathandekayo. She leaves ama memories amnandi behind ngeyikhathi esibe nazo together. Engifuna nje ukudlula kuko sengihlala phansi ngifisa ukuthi siyambonga uNkulunkulu ngoThokozane for living a legacy of faith. Amen bathandekayo.
Amen.
The last day uThokozane ezo admit esibhedlela ungithumela imessage ekseni uthi malumekazi pray with me, push with me. I coughed the whole night and the devil is a liar. Yiba nami emkhulekweni, I can't even talk indlela engiyiyo. Now ngifisa ukuthi uThokozani ngitheba ngicabanga indaba yakhe ngacabanga amazwi kaMphostoli Paul lapho ethi ngikulwile ukulwa okuhle ngaqeda ibanga ngakugcina ukukholwa. I want to say uThokozani ulwe ukulwa okuhle weliqeda ibanga lakhe and wagcina ukukholwa kwaze kwaba sekugcineni. Ungikhumbuze ama Hebrews chapter 11 akhuluma ngamaqhawe enkolo lapho kuthiwa abanye bayibona izethembiso zilaphaya kodwa bazange bayibambe kodwa bafa bekholwa. uThokozane ufe ekholwa ebambelele kuNkulunkulu. Sengathi as a family, as friends, colleagues, whoever was connected with uThokozane can learn okuhle uThokozane akwenzile okukholwa nokubambelela ekukholweni kwakhe noma isimo sinzima noma isimo sibhlungu kangakanani kodwa wabambelela ekukholweni kwakhe wahamba nako yiko okumthathe bambeka ekhaya ezulwini. Inkosi isiqinise sonke bathandekayo. Amen.
Amen.
Siyabonga kakhulu ku mama okhulumela abakwaKhumalo. Sibonga kakhulu. Bensele ndi worried ngathi sothatha la ndawo yami ngo. Ndithi hayibo awunakwazi ukuthatha konke okungokwami. Kodwa ke siyabonga kakhulu ubana kwenzekile ukuthi ufikelele kulo ndawo. Siyabonga kakhulu. Ndiyafuna ukutsho on behalf of isekethe yasemngeni ukuthi sibuhlungu kakhulu, especially because early this year uMama Poswa siye samkhetha ukuba abe ligosa lesekethe ezosebenza nomfundisi uBrenda Thima othe ekseni nje xa besikhuluma wathi kum sendidlulise ukuba buhlungu kwakhe ngokungakwazi ukuza kulomsebenzi, especially because engusuperintendent wesekethe, especially because ebeyingxenye yesekethe executive. So umfundisi uThima utshilo kumo kokuba ingane zika Sisithokozani zijwayele ukukhuluma naye, bayafowunelana, useza uqhubeka ebafowunela. Uzawuphinda abacheke even this afternoon ukuthi umoya kaNkulunkulu ohlale nabo. Enso ndifaka ke okuxolisa kwakhe kuba uyayazi ukuba beclose kakhulu noSisithokozani Poswa. Siyavuya kakhulu ke xa sinabantu abanjalo. Manicele ke ngoku aba babini ozawukhulumela abatshana, ozawukhulumela abantwana bakaSisithokozani basondele ngaphambili. Abatshana kunye nabantwana bakaSisithokozani basondele ngaphambili.
Ngathi ngiyaphupha. This is so unreal. Uzumile mamncane. Sekukuningi ngikhuluma in funerals at home. It's been just as painful, but akaze kube nzima kanje. Kuningi engakusho ngawe mamncane. I could go on forever, but isikhathi asivumi. Engizokusho on behalf of abashana bakho. The first two words that come into mind is thank you. Siyabonga for always being there. Not sometimes. Hayi isikhathi mesivuma, ngithi always. She was always there for us. Thank you for loving us. Uthando lwakho luze ladlulele ey'nganeni zethu. You were there. You were present ngaso sonke isikhathi. Sibonge nokuthi uzothande nabazali bethu. Ububazisa osisi bakho, ububazisa obhuti wakho. Ngaso sonke isikhathi mamncane. You showed us how important it is to be a family. Our Sundays as a family will never be the same. Christmases will never be the same. The first of every year will never be the same. Our family group chats, angeke kusafana. Esontweni LG, angeke kusafana. Vuyani, Fuyisile, Sipilele. There are no words of comfort. Awekho amazwi esingawusho kunina as your nieces and nephews. But all we can say to you ukuthi nimbonile uma wenu elele ethule namhlanje. Angaze ngimbone mamncane elele so peacefully. Uma wenu bengalali. But she's at rest. Find comfort in that. Khehla, uthe ngifika kuwena ngomsombuluko ey'ntathu after hearing. Wathi kuthina uma wakho uthe usumkhipha endlini. Wathi kuwena uNkulunkulu uyaphila. Wathi umbonile uNkulunkulu kaMalimxolane. Umbonile Khehla. Bambelela. I know they say men don't cry, but you have the right to cry. It's okay to cry. Healing iqala ngokukhala. Sikhona nani at all times. Ngithi mamncane hlengiwe. Akukho engakusho mamncane. All I can say is thank you. Thank you for being Mamncane Thokozani's lifeline. You were her best friend. You were her sister. You were there emotionally. You were there physically. You were there financially. Kusazoba buhlungu. Akuzuphela inhlungu ayisoze zaphela. Kusazoba buhlungu. But rest assured, she's so grateful ukuthi ube khona naye nosisi bakhe bonke. Kunzima. Kunzima. Kusazoba nzima. But we're here. We're here for you. Sonke. Mamncane. Mamncane. Sandile. Sizodlula. Uzodlula. Akukho kungadlula. But rest assured she's at peace.
Ingane zakhe
Sanmanan, first and foremost, I'd like to say, we might take a bit of time. We're not going to take too long, but we will take a bit more than 3 minutes. But this is the last time we ever get to speak of any parent of ours. So if you could just give us that, please. To say it hurts would be an understatement. Hurt does not describe how we feel. There's no word. I cannot find a word that describe the feeling we have right now. I think right now we have no feeling. We would love to question God why, but we know we can't question God why. But we had a phase where we're not ready to talk to God right now because He understood that she was all we had left. And yet He still took what we had left. Uma was young, Uma was full of life. As much as, yes, she was 55 and she thought she was 25. And I had to be her mother because Uma thought she was 25 and she was not 25. And Sisi, please, you can't be doing that. You are too old. You can't be going there. You are too old. Uma loved us. Like, she gave us her all. She gave us her best. She gave us everything. There was nothing we never had. We were never left without. As a single parent of 3, at the age of 36, with the 2-year-old and the eldest of 16, she was there. Never once did we feel like we were lacking in any way. We always had food. We always had a roof over our head. She made sure we got the best education, and we were always laughing at the fact that I never understood how privileged I was until I was older. That I remember that when I was in matric, I had a 3310, and it was a very great phone at that time. Most kids with both parents didn't have that. Most kids who had a lot of things didn't have that. But she gave me that by herself, and with all the responsibilities that she still had. She made sure we had everything. Uma was the most beautiful soul. And when I say Uma, it's not just Uma. Right now, yes, she has 3 kids that were hers that she gave birth to. They just say they're Poswa. Uma had thousands of kids. She literally had thousands of kids. We've had thousands of kids even live with us. It was, you would swear she owned a home, but she was just a mother to everybody, and everybody was her child, and that's why she was just Uma, because she was just too much to each and every single person. The most loving, the most caring, the most annoying at times. we all had moments where I knew which weapon because but it is something that I had to do, because every now and then, but it also, now thinking of it, it really came from a caring and a loving place, and we just didn't understand. Why won't you just let us be, because we are old enough? But she was just being a mother. There is no one, I don't think there's ever any woman who is phenomenal as she is. She was literally love personified for everyone and anyone. She cared for everyone and anyone. She was the warmest person to everyone and anyone. And there was no such thing as in, these are not my group, these are my people. To Uma, to her, if she met you, to already you were family to her, and that's the kind of person and the warmth that she portrayed and she gave through to everybody else. I think we are hurt. Right now, I think we are numb, and that's why we can actually stand and talk and sound like we're okay. It hasn't sunk in. It hasn't sunk in. I mean, we haven't seen her. We don't know that it hasn't sunk in that she's gone, that we will never see her again, that literally this is it for us. This is where it ends. But all we can say is, as she would say to all of us after every single phone call, which was literally every single day, because if you did not call, you would get a very long message about because they haven't spoken to her literally in 8 hours. But we would have to call, and her line was Gagtanda Muntu. And that was her line to everybody, everywhere, even the from everywhere else. Her line to everyone was Gagtanda Muntu. So as we are saying to God goodbye to you right now, Gagtanda Muntu. Dear Ma, if I had known on the last day that we spoke that it was going to be the last day we would be speaking to you, I think this is what we would have said. I personally would have told you that you were my best friend. You were the light of my life. You were the song of my heart. You were always on my mind because you are my very best friend. Every single day of our lives, up until this point has been made better because of you. You're still the light of our lives, Mom. You're still the song of our hearts, and you will always be on our minds. The memories we have of you, so fond, so sweet, so vivid, that I know we can still feel them. Those that will be timeless treasures of our hearts. The memories I have of you, so fond and so sweet and so vivid, that I can still feel them, will always be the timeless treasures of my heart. The first one that comes to mind is a story I tell so often, of the time you scolded me at the queue in Macro in Springfield. I giggled when I think of it because it was the first time you had caught sight of my nose piercing after I had returned from university in Cape Town. You said to me, "Akuvuyithanda izinto wena," which means you like things. Mom, I need you to know that it warmed my heart. Mom, I need you to know that it warmed my heart to know that instead of you warning me against certain things, you'd prefer that I go out, make my own experiences, make my own mistakes so that I can learn my own lessons. You always encouraged me to pave my own path even if the bricks weren't perfectly laid. You taught me that in life life should always be lived in constant fear of making mistakes, but rather should never be lived in constant fear of making mistakes, but rather in continuous excitement of learning from every new experience, no matter how good or bad. You raised us, Mom, to love ourselves, stand tall and never undermine the value we bring into every room we enter into and into every life we cross paths with. We're going to miss your cooking, your loud and passionate singing and worshipping at any given times, even when I watch the Kardashians or with Ukehla watching footballs. We'll miss you in every waking moment of every second our eyes are closed, and when we're sound asleep. We will miss you in every memory that we make here on out, because just sharing it with you would have made them all sweeter. We will miss you when we laugh, because our laughs with you would last longer, erupt with the deepest parts of our bellies and leave us in stitches in our sides. You carried so much for us, Mom, and you did it with so much grace, love, and joy. For all the times we never got to thank you for what you did and all that you did, we thank you, Makumar. And for the times we did, thank you again. No amount of words can begin to capture just how much you meant to all of us. You raised all three of us since the year 2001. You had double the parenting, carried double the stress, and alone navigate through the double the trouble. But you gave us an abundance of love, an abundance of joys, and an abundance of blessing that we will forever hold dear. We will never learn how to live without you. So instead, Ma, we will learn how to live with the love you left behind. Love that carries in the legacy you created, the memories we shared, the lessons you taught us, the faith you instilled in us, and the people who remain. Denzel Washington put it well when he said, at the end of the day, it's not about what you've done or even what you've accomplished. It's about who you lifted and who you made feel better. And it's all about what you've given back. In your life, Ma, you didn't just achieve great things. You lifted us all up, held us all up to a greater standard, and made us feel like all better people. You gave lovingly, selflessly, and generously. And even when it seemed like you have nothing to give us, you found more to give from yourself. Thank you for teaching us that unless we lose ourselves in service to others, there is little purpose in our own lives. I'd also like to thank you thank all those that knew you, for loving you, laughing with you, praising God with you, serving people with you, and just doing life with you. It is a companionship that you hold dear to your heart, and I am forever grateful for those people. Our hearts are absolutely broken, shattered because you are no longer. We will never ever find somebody who loved us as unconditionally as you. There is no love alive that is greater than the love of a mother and a child. To us, you are all, our everything, and you meant the world, the galaxies and the stars. From the music that you sang to the books that you read and the sermons that you watched, each day of your life was a quest for God, Mom. How could you even better resemble him, better serve him, and better honor him, was your question. I must admit right now, it is a little bit difficult to seek God as wholeheartedly as I witnessed you do. It is difficult to praise him in a time that I have so many questions for him. Why did you take you so soon? And why couldn't he have given me one more time with you, even if it was just for a day? Lala kahle Mtungwa, Mbulazi, Mzilikazi kaMashobane, Donta, Dludlu, Nonkosi. We will always, always love you and miss you. Rest in peace, my perfect angel.
Siyabonga kakhulu ingane. Siyabonga kakhulu ngokuba strong. Bakwazi ukuzoma ngaphambili bevalelisa uma wabo. Siyaziyo ukuthi akukho lula, akukho mnandi ukuma ngaphambili besithi hamba kakuhle, kodwa ngethemba lokwazi ukuba esimkhonzayo yena unawo amandla okuninika ukuthi niqhubeke nobomi engekho uma wenu. Lo behamba naye ebemnikeza amandla anithwale, nangoku sekangekho uzawuphinda aninika amandla. Isibusiso uma wenu bezithandazela, everything ebeyithandazela for nina. Ngokumandla kaNkulunkulu izawuphumelela. Siyabonga kakhulu ke kuni xa nithe nafumana eso sikhathi noba sisincane, kodwa sinethemba lokuba umoya kaThixo uzawuniphilisa, uzawuninikeza amandla. Mandicele ke ngokuzithoba okukhulu abakwaMashallah basondele ngaphambili ukuze ke balandelwe ngabakwaPoswa abazawusondela nabo.
Okay, boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning on this very solemn occasion. I'm speaking on behalf of the Mashallah family, and just to provide a bit of context. Our late sister, Mrs. Thokozani Poswa, was married to our late cousin, Thabo Poswa, who is the second son, as you are well aware, of the late Reverend Poswa and his wife, Mrs. Vuyiswa Poswa. Mrs. Vuyiswa Poswa is a Miss Mashallah, our Momkulu, and to her sister, Mrs. Vuyiswa. To our dearest nieces, nephew, and Thokozani's son-in-law, Vuyisile, Kefta, Spilile, and Maleka. And to abantu bakwaPoswa, oDonsa, oDlabathi, abakaKhumalo, oMdungu, thina abakaMashalaba, oNdlovu, oGengezi, sibuhlungu. We are truly, truly heartbroken that today we stand here to bid our beloved Thokozani farewell. Thokozani has been a member of our family for almost 40 years, and it is very sad that I, and not the elders of the Mashallah family, who would have loved to have been here, but who unfortunately couldn't make it due to age, have directed us to pass to the three of you, to the Poswa family, and to Amandunga, their deepest and most heartfelt condolences. What do you say about a rose? What do you say about a pioneer? What do you say about a wife, mother, sister, and leader who dedicated her life to love, to nurture, and to build wherever she went, be it her family? You have heard her children testify. You have heard that testimony, be it her colleagues. The amazing work that Thokozani did for a person so of her age, so young, speaks deeply about the person that she was. I can definitely say I don't have enough time today to share with you what Thokozani meant to us as a family. But what I can tell you, as I stand before you this afternoon, speaking on behalf of the family, is that a void has been created. We are poorer for having lost Thokozani. We are poorer for having lost a pillar of strength in the family, who raised 3 children single-handedly after the untimely passing of our cousin Thabo, who was always a first respondent, always willing, always ready to assist, and always lend a hand. So Tina City, like you, silahlekelwe. Despite the loss and the sorrow that we feel today, we also know that she's in a better place. As painful as it is, we know that she has been reunited with her husband Thabo, with her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Kumalo, her siblings, her father-in-law, who's late, Uncle Jerry, her brother-in-law, Sadie, who has also passed. We will miss you, Thokozani, but we are, like Christians, comforted that we shall meet again. To the Poswa family, my dear who is here, our condolences for Donza. To Amantunga, Omziligazi, Sipala Nani, Sisonke. To our nieces, once again, Wisile, Kesha, and Spilele. Today is a day you would have never wished for nor imagined. Whilst a difficult road lies ahead, always remember you have a family that will always support you. Remember your mom's teachings. Remember her ambitions for you. Remember the dreams that she had for you. Remember the love that you have expressed and shared with us that she had for you. Continue to make her proud. In closing, I know how difficult this is for the 3 of you primarily. I would like to share this quote by Anonymous. And the quote, which I hope will bring you solace and comfort, is, mothers never really die. They just keep the house up in the sky. They polish the sun by the day and light the stars that shine at night. Keep the moonbeam silvery bright, and in the heavenly home above, they wait to welcome those they love. I have known no mother who has so selflessly dedicated her life in loving you all, in your advancement, and in the pride she had about all of you. So from all of us, the Mashallah family, we share your sorrow, and we will be with you through this day and all the days to come. Thank you.
abakwaPoswa basondele.
Firstly, I would like to acknowledge our Bishop, Mr. Reverend Mandindi, abefundisi present here, our big sister, Mrs. Nomapelu Dandala, family, members and friends, nebandla lonke liphelele siyabingelela. I stand in front of you on behalf of the Poswa family. My elders have requested me to come and stand here and apologize profusely on their behalf. They couldn't be part of the funeral due to circumstances that are surrounding us currently, and they are elderly now and frail. Thokozani joined the Poswa family at a very young age, and you know, everybody was wondering how was she gonna cope as a young Makoti, you know, because they always say emendweni kuyashisa. But she blended in and fitted like a glove. She was never a misfit, and she will never be a misfit. Thokozani immediately assumed the status of being a sister to me. I never had a sister. I had 4 brothers, and I'm the only girl kwaPoswa. She assumed the status of being a sister njengokushesha. Leyo kuba sister-in-law just died a natural death, you know, because of her character. That was somehow similar to that of my mother, Mrs. Poswa, and also similar in a way to mine. So all fell into place. When Thabo passed, my brother, whom I come after, Thokozani again now had to assume both roles of being a mother and of being a father to the children concurrently and ngokushesha. Children were very young at that point, and she was also young herself. It was a very sad state of affairs, but wayibamba ishisa umakhumalo. Wa evuka nabantwana, wabambelela enkosini yakhe. She dedicated her life to the Lord as young as she was, and we are so thankful for that. Secondly, she did not desert us Baba Poswa when her husband Thabo, our dear brother, passed on. She remained committed to her marriage and family. She always bragged at church saying phela yena umakoti wakwaPoswa, and the way she was dressing, she was saying, I'm taken after my mother-in-law. She loved herself for Thokozani, and we all know, and she loved beautiful things. She was a hard-working woman, strong, warm-heartedly, but full of joy and happiness. She was a very resourceful woman of God. We thank you, Thokozani, singodonsa, singodludlu, singodlabat. We thank you for your life. We will always appreciate you as the Poswas. Umama, Mrs. Poswa, she's very aggrieved. She could not be part of this occasion. Kodwa uthe ngithi kuwe, enkosi kakhulu mamntunga. Donsa, dludlu hlabathi. Uhambe kakuhle. Sibulala ngayo yonke into osenzele yona. Ungakhathazeki ngabantwana. They'll be taken care of. Hamba kahle Thokozani. You have lived your life to the fullest. Thank you.
Siyabonga kakhulu ku sisi okuphela abaPoswa. Umfundisi utata wethu ubaba uDabula. Umfundisi usana bayamazi ke abadala. Uyena wathumela umlayeza ukuthuthuzela ifamily esithi bangabantu abaziyo kakhulu, bangathuthuzeleka, bahlale kakuhle esandleni sikaThixo. Ngicela njengalomzuzu uTorhwana ndicelele uHlengiwe ifriend yami enkulu. Asonde lapha ngaphambili. Abe namazwi nje ku dade wabo ukuze ke emveni koko sizokwazi ubeka phambili.
Thokozani indlela beyiyona ubengathi mdala kunathi sonke engekho mdala ehlale phambi ukuthi siba u14 yena unumber 10. uThokozani ube nothando engakwazi ukulichaza. Ube nothando. uThokozani maye nawe owakho wonke. uThokozani usinike uthando ekhaya. Sonke ofika naye umngani wakho uthola uthando. Wonke umuntu meke wahamba uThokozani uzobuya ashare. uThokozani ngalento angakhipha ivesi ngalo angakhipha ivesi ashumayele ubekholwa engathi kusasa alikho. Siyambonga uNkulunkulu uma wathi mayizali esikhulisa wavele wasinikeza ubest foundation wasipha ifa laphakade. Ifa la phakade elingeze ukusebenzela manje elizosebenzela mazidlula. Mina bengingazi ukuthi kuye kube khona usuku mina ngingakhulumanga noThokozani, ngingabanga noThokozani. Mina bengazi ukuthi impilo yami iphelele kuThokozani. uThokozani umumbuku bucama uthi unako konke kodwa uThokozani engenalutho. uThokozani abantu bevele bamcela izinto ezinkulu. Sisithozani sicela usenze ngithi ukuthi ubaba yamazi Thokozani Nkosi yami. Uzohleka ukuthi akanalutho akanantwa. Ngithi ubaba yamazi ukuthi akanantwa. Omunye wakwathi uThokozani we. Ngithi mina Thokozani angazi naye ingane ithi icela ngithengele icontainer ifuna ukuqala. Ngithi Jehova icontainer bayakwazi kodwa wena Thokozani. uThokozani ubeba namazwi owadingayo ngaleso sikhathi. Ngithi yabo mina ngifuna uThokozani sixoxe avela angishintshe manje ngivele ngiunderstand. uThokozani udinga into uno 50 rand wokugcina uzokhipha wona wonke. ube nothando. Mina bengibona ukuthi mangekho noThokozani angazi ngabe ngikuphi. Impilo yami ibihlale incike uThokozani. Mina bengingazi ukuthi ngiyokwazi ukuhlukana noThokozani. Namanje angazi noma kuzokwenzeka yini. Angikwazi kwathi makuqala ilockdown ngithi we babo umuntu kuthiwa akahlala la ehleli khona ngeke ngiphile. Sapakisha nemithwalo nezingane besihlukane besiphuma siyogeza sibuya sihlale ekamelweni siphuma siyogeza sibuya sihlale ekamelweni. Sunday siba nezinkonzo sidla isidlo salidlizwi izwi salidlizwi salidlizwi malumekazi izwi salidlizwi noThokozani. uThokozani usiphe ifa bathi asibambelele ezwini babambizwi hlengiwe ninga mangathi akhuluma usiphela mangathi akhuluma uAndiswa besishintshana ngoSunday sibambe inkonzo bathi yodwa into kholwana inkinga ngokukholwa keke ukuthi akufuna ongenako kodwa kufuna konke onakho. Akekho ozothi mina ekhaya bengingasebenzi angikwazanga ukukholwa hlengiwe asikwazanga ukukholwa uThokozani wasikholwa kanjani singasebenzi wathi sikholwa kanjani singafundile wathi sikholwa singani kodwa vele wasitshela into elula kodwa edinga ukuthi wena wonke bengizama ngayo yonke indlela ukuthi ngivala igap uThokozani yabo kuhamba uThabo mangithi uThokozani mina uzofa ngoba uThokozani wakuthaba engahlukani. Ngizama ngayo kodwa uThokozani kwavele kwajika kwawuyena onamandla okudlula thina. Masithokhehla kwisizwe. Niyazi ukuthi mina noThokozani akuhlukaneki. Ngize ngathi Jesu wami ngisaba ngisho ukuphuma phambi kwabantu abantu bazongibuka njengoba bonke abantu kumina bayasuka. Ngathi ngithi ngibambelele Xolani wangishiya. Ngathi ngithi gugu wahamba. uThokozani kangaze ngicabanga ukuthi uThokozani ube namandla. uThokozani ukhuluma ngokukholwa amazwi engakhipheki khehla sisobabili simbambe stretching last week Monday wathi kholwani konke ku right. uThokozani ngicela ungabusakhulu wathi ngithi kholwani bambanizwe siyafisa ukuthi ngelinye ilanga ekseni masibonana kodwa iyodwa into ezosenza sibonane sizandile ukubambizwe. Sunday ekhaya siyashare amavesi. uThokozani unabangani abazana kakhulu nayo spiritually izwi uThokozani befuna siliphile isikhathi sivuma siliphile isikhathi singavumi kubhlungu mfundisi ngifuna ukukukhohlisa kubhlungu kodwa siyakholwa ukuthi uNkulunkulu ubengeke amthatha uThokozani if ngesikwazi ukuphila uThokozani engekho ngangithi mina wazi wathi umuntu omane engisebenza nayo ngiyakufisela ufe kuqala kunoThokozani wakini ngoba wena angiboni ukuthi uyokwazi ukuphila kanti uNkulunkulu wazi ukuthi nginamandla ukuthi ngingakwazi ukuphila ngaphandle siphilele khehla nginjena Vuyisile ngikhona nginjena ukuthi ngizokwenzani nama ngazi usisigugu usasibhedlela usisidudu usasibhedlela kodwa uNkulunkulu ukhona futhi unecebe elihle ngathi engikwaziyo uNkulunkulu ukuthi usithandile wasithemba somndeni wakho umali wasithemba somndeni wakwaPhoswa sizohlala uNkulunkulu sizobambelela ngesisuku ingayeke ukusiphulekisa sihlala
ukhona siyabonga kakhulu kusithengiwe ukuvalelisa kamnandi kangaka mandicele ke ukugcina ke ngoku ozawuthi enze izwi lokubongela umndeni uMandla Nzimande asondele ngaphambili kuze emva koko ke sizokwazi ukunikeza umzali wethu kule synod yalapha eNatal Coastal.
Ngiyabonga baba indisigujulo ngifamisela amehlo ami ezintabeni usizo lami luvela phi na usizo lami luvela kuJehova kuphela owenzile izulu nomhlaba amen cela ukubingelela uBishop uMandindi ngibingelele ubaba umfundisi uGujulwa umfundisi uSanda ubingelele nalapha emuva ubaba umfundisi uGumede nabo bonke abafundisi abakhona bese ngibingelela umndeni wakaPhoswa umndeni wakaKhumalo ngibingelele bonke abantu abakhona angikwazi ukubabiza bonke ngamagama egameni lenkosi uJesu Kristu waseNazaretha amen ngilapha kule ndawo ukuthunywa imindeni emibili umndeni wakaPhoswa nomndeni wakaKhumalo le mindeni nombili ithe angizodlulisa ukubonga ngento eniyenzele uMrs Phoswa ngexolisa ngimbiza kanjalo kuyangihlula usibali ukuthi ngimbize ngegama njengomuntu oshadile bengingasho uThokozani ngixolele bengihlale nje Mrs Phoswa uthi ucela ukudlulisa okukhulu since kwenzeke lokho kudalwe uNkulunkulu imithandazo lesithandazo nami ngoba umunye wabo lesithandazo 12 sonke kwavela kwa network ngithandazo ngo12 o12 ababili wase uAM kanye noPM u6 AM no6 PM bekukhulekwa siyayibonga imithandazo yenu iyabonga lemndeni ombili imithandazo yonke beniyenza ayikho into esingayenza uNkulunkulu uma sembizele umntwana ngicela ukudifferentiate between umuntu nomntwana umuntu sonke singabantu but umntwana umuntu njengoMrs Phoswa osemkhethile uNkulunkulu ukuthi abe ngumhlengi wakhe sicela ukudlulisa okukhulu ukubonga ngako konke spiritually na yonke indlela igama elithi ukubonga alikho elingaphezulu ukuthi ngiyabonga umuntu angavela kulethele nje iRange Rover bonke abantu abayithandayo azoyithi thapha phambi kwakho ungathi uyabonga ngithi abese kuthengela ibhayisikili alibeke la uthi uyabonga so sibonga lokho umndeni ubonga lokho okukhulu uyabonga kakhulu ngako konke sithi konke nikwenzile nikwenze nakwabanye inkosi inikuse nonke amen
siyabonga kakhulu kubaba sibongile nama ndenza izwi lokubonga kuni nonke ni audience right naziphatha kakuhle ekungana kusasa ngahlala ninjalo uNkulunkulu anibusise mandilenze izwi lokubonga kakhulu kuBishop wethu umfundisi uMandindi ekuthe xa kufika lo myalezo e-ofisini, I couldn't think of anybody else ongakwazi uzoma phambi kwalo family. Ndamcela ngokuzithoba okukhulu kuye, ndamjija isandla engavumi ngoba esazi izinto ezinokwenzeka. Kodwa ekugqibeleni uThixo wamphusha ngomoya ogrieve yefamily plus ama-regulations e-lockdown. Kuba nzima kakhulu singabantu, kufuneka sisoloko ngalo lonke ixesha sibambelele emithethweni, but also sinikeze ifamily ithuba loba izame ukuphila after yenze i-last respect zomntu wayo. And so ndiyafuna ukutsho apha efemelini, ndiyafuna ukutsho kubantu bonke abakhona apha okokubana sisimo esi esizawuphila kuso, sisimo esi esiza kuphila naso. Unfortunately asikayazi azame ukwenza kangangoko nakho okokubana impilo yakhe ayibeke phambili ukuze after this situation, after this terrific moment esikuyo, siphinde sibonane ngaphaya ekugqibeleni. Then imeko esikuyo yona izawudlula, kodwa unfortunately izawudlula silile kakhulu, izawudlula senzakele. Kodwa abo bakwaziyo ukuma mabaqine, abomelele ngoba uThixo wethu uzawuhlala nathi. Ndiyacela ke sivume nje ivesi beyodwa kwela culo le 90, la vesi ethi kanti uYesu uyandibona xa ndilila njalo, ukuze ke ubishop umfundisi uMandindi asondele ngaphambili.
Mangithathe lethuba ngibingelele kuwo wonke umuntu ola, ngizehlise kakhulu ku befundisi basekhaya, umfundisi uGujulwa nomfundisi uSanda, ngibingelele kumama uDandala, ngibingelele kuba umfundisi uHadebe uNdlovu, omama bonke, obaba bonke, abafowethu nodadewethu, ifamily yakwa Mashallah, ifamily yakwa Poswa, ifamily yakwa Khumalo, izihlobo nezalamane. Ngivumeleni uba nginibingelele lonke kwelihle igama eliphilisayo lenkosi uJesu Kristu kuze kube phakade. Amen. Blessed is the one who does not walk in the steps with the wicked, or stand in the way that the sinners take, or sit in the company of the mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditate on his law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by the streams of water, which yields its fruits in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do, they prosper. Not so the wicked. They are like chaff that the wind blows away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the assemblies of the righteous. For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked leads to destruction. Ihubo lokuqala elo. Ngivumelene ngithathe lesi sifundo ku Matthew 7 verses 13 and 14 and 25 to 27. Matthew 7 chapter 7 verses 13 and 14, then 25 and 27. 13. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate, and narrow is the road that leads to life, and only few find it. Then verse 25. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish person who built his or her house on the sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash. Ngamazwi ezwi likaNkulunkulu labe ngiwafunda, uNkulunkulu makawagcina walonda enhlizweni zethu manje kuze kube phakade. Amen. Life is not easy. Obo, it's not easy. And in life, Keshe, we are going to face all kinds of storms in life. The storms of life are many. And the storms of life, they vary. They include illness. They include opposition. They include difficult relationships. They include disappointment. I heard you earlier on standing here talking to God and saying to God, you are not expecting me to be happy about this. I'm angry. Because storms of life take us through situations where we experience disappointment. Storms of life include bereavement. They include moments like this. Storms of life. Storms of life do not need us to be in the sea or in the ocean. Storms of life come to us in the comfort of our houses. They come to us at work. They come to us as we are about to rest, as we want to take a nap. They come to us. They come to us as we walk. They come to us in church. They come to us whilst we praise and worship. Storms of life come to us. They come to us as you sit in your car and as you drive along. They come to us. They come to us when the gathering of a family, it's a peaceful occasion and storms hit. Storms of life. They come to us. And this is one such storm. The passing on of Umakumar, a lady with a very gentle spirit. COVID-19 years ends is in. I'm telling you, you would have seen. And this is going to be part of what we will be saying. Sizamana sesete takungcwatywa uMandende sithi ukuba nje besingekho ku COVID ubuzobona. And maybe masekudlule yonke lento we will understand why we were placed where we are placed. Maybe we will understand. And Jesus says we all will face the storms of life. Sometimes the storms of life appear without a warning. And sometimes the storms of life can be furious. Storms of life cause panic. Spilel, Mbulelo said, I must say to you, go, is that you?
Yeah.
Mbulelo said, I must say to you, you were together at primary. He knows that at some stage you went to Cape Town when he was going to UJ. I think you remember Mbule.
Yes, thank you.
Storms of life cause panic. Sometimes when they appear, Kamasa esamasa elephuza makwe. Usemkhunjini engathi uzawuhlephuka. Amanzi etheleleka phakathi emkhunjini. Into emandi ngalomkhumbi esibalisela ngayo eBhayibhelini. Jesus was a passenger in the same boat. And as the waters were spilling in, ephakama amanzi. The Bible says the guys who were with Jesus were experienced fishermen. They were used to dealing with the storms at night. But on this particular day, this was a different, furious, and powerful storm. And the Bible says Jesus was lying down in the stern. And so, as the winds were blowing, and as the disciples remembered to go to as they were lowering their sails and trying to direct and control the boat, they forgot one thing, that the controller of life is in the boat. They wasted their time. They wanted to put in place their experience, and all they needed to do at that time was to come closer to Manganga insimbi esedlinde uJesu ongunyana kaNkulunkulu ovula kungavali ovala kungavuli. They reserved going to him as the last option. Ngoba sinjalo bomini if we see masejongene nobunzima, we want to use our experience. We want to use the views of the other people. When we're facing storms, we must always remember that we are in a boat, and each and every one's boat, Jesus is there. And ibingati singatsho nje sithi be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that and so as they were facing this situation, eventually they remembered this. Ogogba, Jesus is here. Poswa, your mother and your father, and both your maternal and your paternal parents have shown you the way. Mfana good. I know that your sisters are with you. And literally, Londo, places a responsibility on you at your age. And this is time for you to grow up. This is time for you now to look at your friends, the boys, the guys that you do things with. Because now you are assuming a responsibility that has been given to you by those who are no longer. Funeka uyazi ukuba izigqibo ziyathathwa, how to take decisions. Funeka uyazi ngokokuba woyama kubani. Ngoba uzawuxake kungayazi uba woyama kubani, bavuma abantu ukuba woyame kubo kanti kukhona into abafuna ukuyibhenefitha kuwe. Funeka ngoku uThixo akunikeze i-foresight. So that xa uvula umlomo bakuthele nqa abantu bathi ngoba lo mfana siyamazi nje le nkwenkwe siyayazi izalwe solo oku kanti uThixo usike wakuthi wambutshise ngobuchule. So that abantwana bodade wenu, when they say Malu, it rings a bell kuwe. Okokuba it's not only that, you are representing the Poswa family. And you are not going to do that by consultation with us. You're going to have to do that by going down the stairs and seek help from Jesus. Because he alone is able to stand up and look at the water and the wind and listen to what Jesus is saying. Once he looks at the waters and the wind, he's not saying anything to the water because there's no problem. Emanzini, he is calling on the wind to behave. Ngoba ungumkhuzi wemimoya. uNkulunkulu ngumkhuzi wemimoya kuJesu. So ingathi ukuthikwa ngakuphamandla mfana kuthi. As we bid farewell, I don't want to say anything ngosisi Thokozani. Uligijimile ibanga lakhe sibuka umhlabelelo wesifunda lo. And it's unbelievable ukuthi now that body that used to sing, that body that used to laugh so much, that body that used to embrace people, it's silent today. Not to say a word anymore. Because konke benokukwenza ukwenze esaphila. And this is a call to all of us. Life is very short. Love as much as you can, because no one amongst us here know ngos. Love as much as you can. Love as much as you can. I know there is social distancing, but embrace people from afar as much as you send messages to people. Tell them how much you love them. You may not have that time again. We are exposed. And nobody knows after this. And so we note in verse 13, this is our tandas. Jesus talks about two gates. He talks about two roads. He talks about two destinations. And he talks about two populations. Uti kona amasango mabili. Abese sithi kukona indlela zimbili. Abese sithi abahamba kwezondlela ezimbini baya kwi-destinations ezimbili. Abese gqibela uYesu sithi, and then there are two populations that are choosing kwezindlela. I want to say uMakhumalo made her choice. Esaphila. Makhumalo made a choice. Ndive kuthiwa ufunde e-University of Durban Westville of Natal. E-University uba kusenjalo. Kukho le gate okuthiwa yi-10 star. Yabona ama-slow gate? Maya kwi-shopping malls amaxesha amaninzi kweza ndawo ufaka u-2 kuzo. Yiloo ntlobo ye-gate. You may come with your friends, but you don't enter as friends. You enter as an individual. And kwezinye indawo, you don't just enter. You part ways with something. You are expected to take out imali onayo, put it in, and then touch the bar of the 10 star. And it allows you alone to come in. and then it closes up. You cannot say ngoba bendihamba nomfowethu ndizawunikeza isandla ngene funeka zingenele yena. You see, uThokozani knew ukuthi uphile ubomi bakhe noThabo kodwa ngemini itextile ibivulela uThabo, there was no way she could come in because itextile abavumela abantu ababili. Awukwazi uthi mina ndingumakoti wasesifundisini ndizawungena, funeka ukuthi usewufikile emzini wasesifundisini usifunele wena indlela ukuthi mase kubizwe igama lakho ungene ku textile. But mase ungenile it locks. And Makumalo ungenile. Ngenelo Makumalo. And this way babaza mini coronavirus. No, umakhumalo ungenile ngoba uyivile izwe livele enkosini. Se wavume sesantsi wathi swing down, sweet chariot. Angifuna uhlekiswa mna sizinto zasemhlabeni, angifuna uhlekiswa zinhlungu. Swing down and carry me home. So Makumalo knew that millenniums are going to be turned into centuries. She knew that centuries were going to be turned into decades. Makumalo knew that decades were going to be turned into years, and years were going to be turned into months, and months were going to be turned into weeks, and weeks were going to be turned into days, and days were going to be turned into hours, and hours were going to be turned into minutes, and minutes will be turned into seconds, and eventually she will lie like that. Sisebezithanda jonga umzimba wakho kuphi ebhutini. But that's not important anymore. Into ebalulekile ukuthi the real Makumalo is with God, because that's where she worked for while she was emhlabeni. So thuthuzekani maphoswa, makanithuthuzela uThixo. Asizukwazi thina singathetha sicikoze, but only God Vuyisile can give you strength. Sisi uhleli nomyeni wakho, keeping in touch with your brother and your sister. I understand you live with your sister eGauteng, kodwa nisazi ukuba likhona ikhaya likaPhoswa eNew Germany. Niligcine, nililondoloze, nimsupporte umfowenu, nibambisene nefamilies zenu zonke. If you mention Mashallah, if you mention Okhumalo, I know that nani ningakoPhoswa nibambisane. Ningavumi any sector of the families to rip you off from others. Qiniseka banenza lanto ibisenziwa nguMakhumalo. Uma kukhona izinto ezizenziwa efamily, hlalani phansi ninxokole nivumelane ni reach i-consensus as families. Ukwenzela uba izinto zenu ngalo lonke ixesha azisikelele uJehova. Hamba kakuhle Makhumalo. Umzamo omhle uzamile sisi. The Natal Coastal, the connection is grateful for having had a person of your caliber, a lady who loved God so dearly. Kwanga ungathi xa ufika kula masango Makhumalo, uThixo ngenxa yemisebenzi emihle obuyenza emhlabeni nangenxa ngenhliziyo yakho enhle akuvulela amasango olubona izulu. Egameni likaYisenelonyana nelomoya ingcwele asikhuleke. Usithembisile Nkosi ezwini lakho okokuba nantoni na esicelayo sikholwa, uthe uyabusenzela nangaphezulu kokucela kwethu. Sicela nansi into Nkosi, litshonile ilanga, yiza uhlale nathi. That's our plea, that's our prayer, that's our request. Litshonile ilanga, bazawuguquka abantu kodwa wena ongaguqukiyo, come and abide with us. NgoYesu Kristu Nkosi yethu. Amen.
Siyabonga kakhulu kumfundisi ngamazwi amakhulu athe wasinikeza wona. Masicele ke womndeni ke manje uzathi khombisi apho sizobeka khona sisithokoza masicele womndeni.
Well, this someone again. For Uma, for right now, we can all, but we please can make sure we keep our 1.5 meter distancing away. We are just going across. She's gonna be laid to rest right there, and then after laying her to rest, we would like to thank everybody because we can't have visitors. The regulations don't allow us to have people that can be coming home or anything like that. But we will all walk across to where the two tents are, and can we please all keep our distance during that time while they bury her, please? And from there we would all go home, our different homes, please. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much. Andifunanga ukutsho ngokwamba sigoduke. Ndifune ukutsho umndeni. Ungathwani baxoshile abantu. Siyabonga kakhulu ngakho konke esikwenzile. Singasukuma ke bafundisi bam, bishop wam ngokuzithoba okukhulu sibe sesimkhokela ke usisi wethu siyokumbeka ngaphaya kwela khaya lakhe lokugqibela ukuze ke wonke umsebenzi sibe siwugqibile. uThixo makanisikelele nonke, uThixo makanithande nonke. Sibuyelene emakhaya siyobalisa indaba ezinkulu kangaka okoba negqibeleni usisi wethu uphumlile. Amen. Singaphakama ke sisona.